My name is Daphne Register.
And my name is Tarell Register.
And we've been married for 8 years. So basically we met at the University of West Georgia. Well, I was at West Georgia and he was in the Air Force. He had just finished basic training, and myself and my best friend Joy and our friend Sam, we went grocery shopping. We like to go in the middle of the night, but we went to Walmart one night and we were walking down the aisles just talking about stuff. And long story short, Sam was on the phone with Tarell, and it was kind of like, oh, I think you should talk to my homegirl. He passed the phone to him, and I started talking to him, and then we talked, and it was like, okay, we'll talk later. And then he was like, you know, he wanted my number. I was like, oh, you can get my number from Sam or whatever. What we realized is we ended up actually meeting talking before that day, because maybe a month or two back, Tarell, or maybe even months before that. Yeah, before Tarell went into the military. So this had to be at the beginning of the year. Long story short, a few days later, he called me and we talked every day since. We actually officially saw each other, like we became boyfriend and girlfriend maybe like a month later. You know, yeah, you say you make it official, like you my boyfriend, I'm your girlfriend.
So we had talked on the phone for a few months now, but she was everything that she was on the phone, but I guess just beautiful and just
what did
everything.
I have on?
You had on some apple bottom jeans and a brown zip up.
It was apple bottom too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm close enough.
Yeah, that works.
It's been a while now, so.
He was everything I expected. We joke about this now because when Sam had first, I guess, shown me a picture of him, I was like, is he short? For some reason, I thought he was, you know, I didn't want him to be too much shorter than me, but he was good. He's taller than me. I think he fell in love with me before I fell in love with him, and not trying to, or he was like head over heels before I was. Like I was a little bit more reserved. Yeah, you've got to build trust, and I was just, you know, I was kind of scared because I wanted to be around him, but I guess they say distance makes the heart grow fonder. It was like we were around each other because we talked every day. We didn't miss a day not talking, and we would talk every day.
Several times.
Yeah, and I don't think was Skype out then. Skype wasn't really out then like that. It wasn't until maybe like a year after we started talking we just started Skyping. But
yeah, it was different. Not being able to physically see that person, but you can talk to them. So, but I don't know. I'm easygoing. So you're right. I guess I did fall head over heels with her first, and I mean I was gone. So I knew Daphne was the one. Daphne, you want me to tell you the truth? Her granddaddy made me feel like she was the one when I met her.
Oh, you never told me that.
Yeah, I just saw her relationship with her granddaddy, and then just from me talking to him, and then she actually lived by the stuff she talked about. So that kind of, you know, made me feel like that was the one. So it wasn't Daphne per se. I mean, it was Daphne, but it was more so her granddaddy that kind of reassured me everything.
I knew he was the one when he asked me to marry him, because the plan was, because he asked me around the time I graduated West Georgia. Like he was gonna ask me on the day of my graduation, but fast forward, he asked me maybe like a day or two later in my apartment. That let me know he was for real. Like he, you know, I said, okay, so we're not just doing this, you know, for play. And so that let me know right there that, you know, he's the one.
I was nervous, excited. I don't know, I had so many emotions I really can't even describe that day. I just know I did it. And I remember Daphne had on a bonnet as usual when it's 8 o'clock at night and some PJs, but that was the best time though. So. And
I think I was laying on the bed and I had rolled over, and then when I got up and did something. When I turned back around, he had a ring in his hand, and he was like, you know, will you marry me?
I couldn't wait till the day of graduation because I didn't want to be around everybody.
I mean, I was filled with emotions right there in my bonnet, laying on the bed, you know, thinking I might have shed a tear, and I said yes, and we kissed, and you know, we were engaged. When I graduated from West Georgia, he was stationed in Montana. He came back to do everything. He proposed and whatever. And so that kind of changed things for me, because the plan for me was my studies were television broadcast. I wanted to be a news reporter. And so I was going to move out west to a little TV station and try to do my thing. But when he proposed to me, I was like, okay, you know, this is not going to be my life. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do. So I started talking to my mentor or whatever. And she was like, well, you maybe can teach what it is that you love to do. So I said, maybe I'll go get my master's. I looked at master's programs and I decided to go to UGA. I got accepted there, and I went to grad school. And so I started that fall after I graduated from West Georgia. He went back to Montana. And so then one day I had a student assistantship, because that's how I paid for grad school. And I was sitting at my desk working, and he gave me a call, and he was like, I have some good news and some bad news. And I was like, okay, what's the bad news? And he was like, I'm getting some orders, and I'm going to Italy. And I didn't hear anything after that, because I just started crying. And he was like, what is that? I mean, like, I was hysterical. And he was like, well, why are you so, what's the issue here, And I was like, because you're gonna be halfway around. He was like, well, we're really not together now, but I was like, I can get on, I can kind of get to you. Because he said, you still got to get on a plane to come to Montana. I was like, well, now I got to travel all the way around the world. But I just felt like he was, leaving me, although I guess he wasn't there, but you get what I'm saying. And so we hung up, and I had to go to the bathroom and get myself together, came back, we talked, we called back again that night, we talked, and what we figured out was I needed to go to Italy too. But in order for that to happen, we had to be married before he got ready to leave. Well, our wedding date was planned for July the 31st of 2010. And this was around November when we were having this talk, so we weren't getting married till the next year. But I was like, you know what, I'm not about to be stuck here for 3 years while he has an assignment, and I got to figure out life here. So I was like, you know what, we're gonna get married. So one day after I got out of my statistics class, he flew in just for that, and we went and got married, and we didn't tell anybody but my granddad. And then we were married, and I didn't tell anybody because I was scared that people wouldn't come to my real wedding in July. And it wasn't a big deal to him. He didn't care. And I kind of felt bad from keeping it from people, because I literally didn't tell like my family. Only person that knew was my granddad.
No people and people.
Yeah.
No family and family. That was the only difference to me.
We play about it now. We'll joke about it, because I was told I couldn't celebrate 2 anniversaries. So I had to pick one. So one year I celebrated both, but here recently, January 12th just passed not too long ago, and I didn't celebrate it. I said I'm gonna wait till July 31st, so.
Now that was difficult, because I was used to being away from her, but to be in another country, and then time difference too, to kind of talk to her, and now that's. And
having to act, I used to carry around a sheet of paper so that I could dial the number to be able to call them. My friends laugh at me, but I carried that piece of paper right here. Everywhere we went, I pull it out so I could call them.
Yeah.
And
so that was kind of, because we went from talking several times a day to about maybe 2 or 3 times a day, which I know
some people
that's a lot, but to us that wasn't enough. So that's probably when it got a little challenging, but other than that.
And then it got worse, because I graduated from UGA that December, and I had everything in order. I was like, I had moved out of my apartment, and I had gone back to Barnesville, stayed with my granddad, and I knew I was gonna be leaving. Like, my flight was 3 days after I walked across the stage. They messed up my visa stuff, so I didn't get a chance to go to Italy until the beginning of March. So for like 2.5 months, I was, mad. I was trying to tear the government apart. I went up to I was mad. I was calling on people that I could just figure out, and then it was their fault. They had messed stuff up.
To make matters worse, when she got there in March, I ended up being deployed.
He got orders in July. So he found, when I got there, then it was maybe a month later.
Yeah.
A month later, he found out he was going to get deployed. And then my family was like, well, you need to come back home. I was like, no, I'm not coming back home. I'm an adult. I'm going to make my life. So I got me a job and started working and stayed there. While we were there, we, hung out, traveled, did everything we could until he got ready to leave in July. And so he got ready to leave for his deployment in July. I remember driving him to the airport or whatever, and he left. And so then, I cried for 2 days straight, but then I still got up and went to work. And then after he left, like a couple days later, I just was using the bathroom so much. I was like, well, let me just go into the doctor, make sure I'm okay or whatever. And so I went, and they said, well, we'll just test you, your urine. How they do when you use the bathroom a lot. And so then the next day she gave me a call. I happened to be laying on the sofa, and the doctor called me. She says, well, you're not sick or anything. She was like, you're just pregnant. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. So I just was overcome with emotions, because of course 3 days before that, Tarell had just deployed. He went to Kyrgyzstan, and I was like, Lord, I'm pregnant. So I picked up the phone and called him. I remember because I had my piece of paper. I called through the system, and I said, are you sitting down? You know, are you at your desk? I need to tell you something. And so I told him, and he didn't say nothing. He just, I don't know. He said he kind of, I don't know. What did you do?
I don't know. I think I blacked out. I really don't know what happened.
I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So, and then people used to joke with us because when I first moved over there, you know, I had become, you know, they have like key spouse clubs where you get together and they kind of, you know, welcome you in and help you with everything. And they used to say, don't drink the water over here in Aviano, Italy, because everybody gets pregnant. I was like, you know, we ain't trying to get pregnant. I was on my birth control. Sure like, that wasn't about to happen. I guess he had forgotten that I was gonna be moving in with him. He was staying in a little apartment that was like from the window to the wall, really. Like, I mean, it wasn't a lot of stuff. So while he was deployed, I picked up our whole apartment and I moved us into a little house. We rented from an Italian lady. When he came back, he was in a new little place.
It was different because you don't have that family support system. Like, you don't have grandma or uncle or brother. So somebody can call and just say, hey, can you babysit or can you help us with this? But I think it made our marriage stronger because we just had to depend on each other. So we made it work. So what was the question again? I'm sorry.
What have you learned between year 1 and now year 8?
Oh, that's easy. Just do whatever she say.
You know, I've been waiting for that statement for forever, and finally you got it. But I just was gonna add, it's funny what he was saying about, you know, when we just had to depend on each other and learn each other, because I think about when we first, because he was able to get back before I had Raven. Like he was there for like the last 2.5 months.
Yeah.
Because he got back like in February and I had her in April. And so I think about when we were there, because it was just the two of us when we had her. And then I remember coming home, and we brought Raven home, and we laid her on the bed. We both looked at each other and we were like, what are we supposed to do with this baby? We was like, we don't know what we're supposed to do, but we figured out how to make it work. And like he was saying, it made us closer, and we had to deal together. And so just from then up through now, I guess coming up on 8 years, the main thing I've learned is that through everything that we deal with and go with, we have each other. One thing I've always said since the time we first got married is first, of course, keep God first. And then the second thing is do what works for your marriage. Like, don't base it off of people and things that are around you, because everybody's marriage is different. You do what works for you.
Just enjoy it. I mean, and when I say enjoy it, I mean, even enjoy the arguments, because life is short. So you never know when you'll see that person again. So just enjoy it, have fun.
In closing, my name is Daphne Register.
And I'm Tarell Register.
And we've been married for 8 years.
You have to cut out a lot because all she asked me, what was the first year, was like, you started going.
So,
no, you gotta keep going.
Okay, I'll stop.
All right, can you feel me tapping you?
Yeah, I do. I thought you were just.
Okay, I'm not rubbing you, I'm telling you. I'm trying not to let him see me over here.
Tarell, how did you know Daphne was the one?
That's a good question. Cut.
Don't do that. We doing so good. Say cut. You gotta think about it.
That's a good question.
Because we never really just thought about it. Yeah, that's a hard question. Cut.
No.
Because I don't know.
Answer the question.
I try not to do that, but there have been a couple times when I maybe gone to bed mad at you.
I didn't know that.
Like it don't bother him. I'll be up tossing and turning, and I'll be upset, but then I have to take that up with the good Lord.
Man. You need to talk to the Lord.
Well, I have to. Well, I have a couple times kicked him, and he didn't know it. We were talking about it the other night. He be making me so mad, but he sleeps, so he don't know it, so I can get a good kick in.
She think I don't know this. Like, how do you accidentally punch somebody in the ribs?
It's not that. It's because he doesn't share the cover. Like, one time I was having a nightmare for real, and I just thought I was,
Yeah.
And we've been married for 8 years. Did you forget? You made me look stupid. You're not supposed to.
I was thinking like, what? Hey, I was thinking like, what? I was thinking like, what are you doing?